guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Crown Euro Cars because guess what? We have a very, very special car. This is a 2018 Porsche 911, but it's not just any Porsche 911. This is a Porsche 911 4S. We'll get into exactly what all that means, but let's talk a little bit about Porsche history. Porsche's been around since 1931, if you could believe that. The 911 first hit the streets in 1963. And what's amazing about the Porsche 911 that I've always loved is that guess what? No matter what year, no matter what trim level it is, you know it's a Porsche 911. It has that iconic look to it, that styling that is second to none. And then when we talk about performance, this car definitely can perform. And when you just look at Porsche overall, big, huge performance. Now, Porsche has won the most coveted of all endurance races in the world, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, not once, not twice, not 10 times, 17 times. Overall race winner. No other manufacturer has come close to that. And that's what Porsche prides themselves on. They take their sports cars, they go sports car racing, whether it's endurance racing, sprint racing, whatever. What's very unique and interesting about the 911 is that technically the car should not work. The car should not perform the way it does because that engine, it's not a mid-engine car, the engine is past the rear axle. So you have all that weight past the rear axle, but you know what? It does work and it's a magical thing, and I'm so glad that Porsche has kept the 911 around. Now, this particular model being a 2018, technically, if you want to be technical, it's a Porsche 911 Turbo. The reason why is that all Porsche 911s have turbos. Now, to designate this car from the bigger brother, the actual Porsche 911 Turbo, these turbos are much smaller. But that was a change that was brought in 2017. At first, some people, especially Porsche aficionados, they were upset that the 911, the straight up 911, was not naturally aspirated anymore. But I think you're gonna find that performance-wise, we're gonna get more performance out of it with those smaller turbos. And then of course, if you wanna upgrade and get the big Porsche 911 Turbo, you could do that. But let's go ahead and dive in to this 2018 Porsche 911 4S. Right off the bat, love the styling. Like I told you, when you see the front of this car, the back, the side, you know it's a 911. You can see the wonderful headlight design, all LED lighting. Porsche took their LED lights that they developed on their race cars, specifically the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and brought that technology to the street. Very, very iconic looking, very sexy, and just gonna bright up that road in front of you, I promise you that. Everything is gonna be functional. So you have these massive air intakes, one on each side. I'll have Tom kind of zoom in and show you that there's actual cooling that's gonna happen as that air rams into the front of the car. As we go across the front, I love on the 911 just how subtle the lower lip spoiler is built into the front fascia and just the nice roundedness. You can see how this is gonna cheat the wind. As we go up onto the hood, there's that Porsche logo. Remember, Porsches are built in Germany, Stuttgart. Those are the German colors with the horse there. Really just an amazing, iconic symbol of all that race heritage, all that performance. Dr. Ferdinand Porsche, unbelievable person, really did some amazing things. Now, as we come around the bend, I'm glad that they went with a clear marker light. I think if this was bright yellow, we would have to zonk it, but it looks oh so good. Talk about oh so good, look at these sexy wheels. The nice flat black finish. I love the Porsche logo there. You got those massive Brembo calipers that are gonna grip down on that rotor. The rotors are cross-drilled and ventilated, nicely set up. Now up front, we have a tire that's gonna be 245 on the width. Big difference because remember, this 911 is gonna obviously have that all-wheel drive, and in the back, the tires are a little bit wider just to really help with steering and everything and all that great stuff. But that's a 20-inch wheel, drop dead, gorgeous, black on black. You can't argue with that. Now, when it comes to a Porsche 911, that traditional, where is the filler cap? That's gonna be always at the front end of the business on the passenger side. I don't care what your Porsche 911 you're looking at, that is the location. There's those distinctive lines, very nicely done. I do like the flat black lower sill, how it extends. And I really think it's just great, the shape here. Look at how the back kind of flares out. Now, when you go the 911 Turbo route, these even flare out more. There's large air intakes, but for your standard 911, drop dead sexy, and they really just kept the traditional lines perfect. As we come to the rear setup, even on the rear, you could see how you're still gonna have a nice large size caliper, 305, 30 series. So you got 305 on the width, 30 series tires, really just 20-inch wheel. It just is pure sexiness on this car. Now, as we come to the back, I really love what they did here. Look at how nice and flared out those fenders are on each side. You have this really great looking grate system where you have these vertical slots. That's obviously gonna be to help cool that engine. This has a flat 6. So it's a boxer motor, just like you would find in a Subaru. The Subaru, though, is usually gonna be a 4-cylinder flat 4. This is a flat 6 with those 2 tiny snails, those twin turbos. We're gonna talk about that in a second, but really to wrap out the back, I love the black exhaust tailpipes on the back here. I don't know why I'm stuttering on that one, but nice size diffuser. This LED lighting is absolutely gorgeous, and guess what? It goes all the way across, which is really nice. And that is a way, talking about these tailpipes, that is a way to designate that this is a 2017 or newer, is because that was the style of the exhaust that they put when they went to twin turbos on all Porsche 911s. But why don't we go ahead, pop this back area, and take a look and see what we can actually see with the flat 6. All right, guys, we're gonna pop open the back because remember, there is no engine up front. This is a rear engine car, so I already popped it, we lifted up, there she is. That's what you get to see when it comes to this 911. There's really not much to see, but that is, like I said, a 3-liter flat 6, 2 small turbos, 420 horsepower out of the 4S. So when you go S, that's gonna give you more horsepower than the standard 911. This one has all-wheel drive. That's what the 4 means. 4S all-wheel drive with the extra performance, 368 pound-feet of torque. Now this car has 20 more horsepower over the previous generation. It has a 7-speed DCT. Now, before you zonk me on calling it a DCT, Porsche calls it a PDK. This actual car weighs 3,400 pounds, 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, quarter mile in 11.8, top speed 190 miles an hour. Guess what though? Still gets 21 miles of the gallon in the city, 28 on the highway, and when you go the S route, you're getting a little bit larger turbo, some software mapping, there's some exterior bits and pieces, and of course interior pieces. But this is the way it works now with the 911. If you go back to the air-cooled days, you pop that rear hatch, you would see a lot more of the motor, but those fans are gonna do the business. Obviously, all Porsche 911s are now water-cooled. There was once upon a time, Porsche 911s were air-cooled. But why don't we go ahead, fire up this 911 and see what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're in the 2018 Porsche 911 4S. This car was recently traded in. It only has 4,200 miles. If you're wondering, well, Joe, I really have fallen in love with this black Porsche 911. How much is it? They're asking $113,000 for it. Let's see what we get. To the door panels. Now, what I love about Porsche and German engineering is simplicity. On the door panel, of course, you're gonna have leather. Of course, you're gonna have soft touch materials. My only zonk is I wish that the stitching on the armrest and around the door grab was some type of contrast, maybe a white or a silver. I do like, though, the nice silver treatment, and like I said, the door just has a nice German simplified look to it. Now, as we go from the door to the dash, same soft material. You can see how much room is in a 911. That's the amazing thing, is that the whole dash, everything is pushed far forward. Nice silver trim here. You push on this, watch this. You want to have something to drink? There's your cup holders. 1, 2, buckle your shoe. 3, 4, guess what? We're closing that door. And hopefully it stays shut. But very nice way to have that for the passenger. When you get to the center stack here, obviously you're gonna have your navigation, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. The screen is a little on the smaller side, but we're not working with a lot of room in here, so I'm not gonna zonk it. But you can see just how clear the graphics are on it and whatnot. If you wanna get back to home, you could go to car here, see all the different settings with your car, the trip odometer, all that kind of stuff. Dual climate control, Nice, conveniently placed. You do have ventilated and heated seats, so I'm going to definitely turn on the ventilated seats. This is the shifter that's going to be controlling that 7-speed DCT, which is called the PDK transmission. There's the actual letters there if you didn't believe me. Nice 911 script. I love all the silver. Now, the black is a little, you know, just regular plasticky looking, but you know what? They kept it so slim that I'm not gonna zonk it. Lots of buttons here. You have your active exhaust, open and close. You could do suspension where you could adjust the stiffness on the suspension settings. Of course, you could go into sport mode, shut the traction control off. You got a little tiny ashtray and a 12 volt here, and then not a very soft armrest, but you know what? It's at a good place. You open it up, you have wireless charging and a USB, which is a really nice touch. Let me show you the key fob. I know everybody wants to see key fobs. Porsche is doing an amazing job with the key fobs. I love the way it looks like a Porsche 911. Same color as the car. There's the crest, very nicely done. And then check out the seats. Look at how they took the Porsche logo there in the headrest. Like I said, very simple seat. It's comfortable, supportive, and it's gonna hold you in. Because remember, at the end of the day, you're gonna wanna take this to the track. You're gonna wanna take this to an autocross or just drive it to work every day. But why don't you come on over to the business end, because there's a lot of great stuff going on over here I wanna show you. Come on over. All right, guys, this is a little piece of heaven. I love sitting in Porsche 911s. You can see the carbon fiber that we have over here, the Carrera, Porsche 911 Carrera. What a famous name, 4S, for the all-wheel drive seats. Like I told you, I'm 6 feet tall. Even with the sunroof, plenty of room in here, guys. You could do the track day, put the helmet on, you got plenty of room. Here is the magic. I love these Porsche 911 steering wheels. Look at how there's not much steering column. It's almost like it's bolted right to the dash of the car. But I love the thickness, the nice Porsche crest, great looking horn button, very simple on the buttons, and I love all the cutouts with a little bit of silver trim. You have good size paddles on the back of the steering wheel that are going to allow you to go up and down that 7-speed PDK transmission. When you're looking at smack dab in center, that's the way it should be in a sports car. You got your tachometer there. Look at that, 7,500 RPM red line. To the left, you got your speedometer. Then you also have oil temp, oil pressure. You have your coolant temp and your fuel gauge all the way to the right. I do like this nice digital display here. And you have thumb drives, which you can go through to actually select different things. Here's the little piece of history. Do you see this right here? So I'm going to shut this off. This is actually the same thing as what's in your pocket, the key fob. This stays in the car like this. And then the reason why Porsches still have this instead of a push button is because they learned a long time ago, Dr. Ferdinand Porsche and all them, when they were racing in the 24 Hours Le Mans, that when the drivers would have to be across the track on the main straightaway and wait for the gunfire and run to the car. What they learned is that the driver could get into the car, put it into first gear, and fire up the car at the same time to get away faster than somebody else. So that is why these will never change, and I'm glad to see that Porsche has kept this here for you to be able to relive that history. But why don't I go ahead and show you, hey, can you really use this as a daily driver? Let's check out the trunk space up front. All right, guys, let's check out the engine on this Porsche 911. We're gonna pop the hood. Silly, there's no engine underneath here. What you do have, though, is plenty of storage space. This one, the owner has given in the, turned in the WeatherTech floor mats. We'll get those out of the way. You do have a nice Porsche 911 car cover. Nice amount of room up here. Very impressive with what they have set up. And you can see that with an engine in the back, it just allows that balance to be a little bit different than a front engine car. Another thing to remember about a Porsche 911 is that there's a rear seat. Now the rear seat is not very large, and I'm not even gonna attempt to get in it because I wanna be able to walk after this review, but there is room in the back where you could actually put an overnight bag or something like that. But why don't we go ahead, let's take this Porsche 911 Carrera 4S for a spin. All right, guys, major moment here on Rady's Rides. This is the first time ever that I have been behind the wheel driving a Porsche 911, and what better Porsche to do it in than a 2018 911 Carrera 4S, the all-wheel drive with the extra power of the S trim. What can I say? I get it. Looking out over the front of the car. You get a great visual. You can see the two peaks of each fender. The hood kind of slopes down, out back, great visibility. And I just love this steering wheel, the position, the feel, the fit, the finish. My only zonk, if I'm gonna zonk the interior, is I want a manual. I want a 7-speed manual transmission. I know, yes, the PDK, very smooth shifting, very fast shifting, but I need some of that engagement, especially in a Porsche 911. But everything is exactly where you'd expect it to be. Seats feel great, plenty of headroom. This really is a dream come true. This is what, when I started Rady's Rides, I couldn't even imagine that I would be behind the wheel of a Porsche 911 like this one. Only 4,200 miles, amazing car. Looking down at the center stack, it makes sense. At first you're like, man, there's a lot of buttons, there's a lot of switches, but it makes sense. And I'm telling you, they really utilize the space very nicely with the AC controls and everything. I got the exhaust wide open, of course. We got, I'm gonna put in sport mode, and just really wonderful sensation sitting behind the wheel of this car. All right, guys, just driving around, so simple, so smooth. You get on the throttle, drops it down, all-wheel drive, really grips the road like Gorilla Glue. You got those massive Pizza Hut style rotors up front with the calipers that look like they're a size 15 shoe. That's the braking capability of this thing. The steering is so light, so perfect, great feedback, great acceleration. I put it in manual mode. It tells you what gear you're in. I'm in 4th gear right now. You use the left paddle, 3rd. Very, very precise inputs of that gearbox. Roll on in 2nd gear. This thing is a rocket. It is a German cruise missile. I feel like I'm going down the Mulsanne Strait at Le Mans right now. Suspension, it's firm, but it really soaks up the bumps great. The car is so tight, so capable, so ready to do whatever you have the skills to do. That's what's so amazing about it. Nice feedback from the brakes. Great pops from the exhaust. So smooth. You look down at the speedometer and you're like, whoa, I'm going a lot faster than what I feel. And that's the thing, is this car is engineered so well that you don't even think you're going that fast. That's the amazing thing about it. Guys, here we go, 2nd gear. So smooth. You know, and with those smaller twin turbos, the boost, you're not even waiting for any. There was once upon a time where in the air-cooled days, especially the 911 turbo, you would be waiting for the boost to come, and then it would all come all at once, and you had to be really prepared. With this, it's so linear and so wonderful. Roll on throttle, 3rd gear. This car is unbelievable. I'm driving a Porsche 911. It is amazing. I'm using the paddles because I want to hear those glorious downshifts. That's for sure. Wow, the brakes. Great feedback from the brake pedal. Look at that. Stop on a dime, give everybody change, and then we're off. Just so smooth. That's the thing that's with this car. It's just so smooth. Holds a line very, very well. Very trackable. On brakes, downshift. If that doesn't put a smile on your face, you're either not alive or you're not paying attention or something. All right, guys, here we're off. The grip, the level of grip in this thing is really phenomenal. Look how it holds a line. All the way up to 7,500 RPM. Nice and smooth. Steering is so direct in this car. It's like you think it and you're already turning. That's how instantaneous it is in this thing. Unbelievable. On brakes. Feels great. Nice and smooth. It's just one of those cars that if you know what you're doing behind the wheel, you're able to connect the dots and hit each apex so precise. It's like you could be a brain surgeon with this car without a PhD. That's what's so amazing about this thing. Here we go, this nice bend here. Watch it hold a line on throttle. Look at this, look at this. Really super smooth. The downshifts, lightning fast. Like the PDK is the magic, but I do still want a manual. I want a manual gearbox. That's just old-fashioned Joe talking, but this PDK is definitely quick shifting. Downshift, look at that. Really nice. Really, really, really nice. And then you stop on a Deutschmark. There you go. Actually a Euro. Germany's using the Euro, but here we go. One last time for you guys. On brakes. Really, really smooth. So smooth. So crisp. Feels amazing. We're gonna go ahead and get back to Crown Euro Cars. Even though I don't want to give this car back, we're gonna go ahead. We need to get back and wrap this one up. I'll see you guys in a split second. All right, guys, it's been one of those magical days here at Crown Euro Cars in St. Pete. Really loving this Porsche 911. What an experience. This is actually, like I said in the driving portion, the first time that I ever got to drive a Porsche 911. Got to definitely thank Bianca and everybody here at Crown Euro Cars for just allowing me access not only to all their great Mercedes products that they have, but they get some pretty good pre-owned cars traded in like this one. If these are the types of things you like to see on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on Rady's Rides, click the link in the description. Takes you right to Spreadshirt. Got to give it up to Big Guns McGee. This was his first ride ever in a Porsche 911, and I promise you, Tom, it will not be the last. So thank you for all your help, and just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.